Hey, what's going on, Los Angeles? What's up, Ramley? Welcome to the Rams Skinny here on the LAFB network. We are Los Angeles Sports. This is your daily dose of Los Angeles Rams news. Skinny, I'm still spiraling over that loss just because I'm shocked. I rewatched the game and it's like there's no way the Rams lost this game. The way they played in the first half, the way they even played in the second half for most of it. I'm just shocked they lost the game. We're going to get into it with our winners and not so much winners and some definite losers. We're going to definitely have some losers in this one. But first and foremost, not a loser, definite winner. Skinny T, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, nothing really to report on this side. I mean, yeah, life is good right now.
Great. I'm hoping this is our last 90-degree day of the fall. We are officially in the fall.
Yep.
90s. You always forget that. You love the 90s, so you're good.
Yeah, up till 90, like 90, 91. And then after that, I get a little bit too sweaty. But other than that, 80 feels like a perfect day for me now.
Yeah. We were up in, went to Julian, California for some apple picking on Sunday. So I actually missed the Rams game live, which was why I was not with you on the live stream. You had the great Aaron joined you from the Believe Network, which was a great guest to have on. So make sure you guys are tuning into the live post game because Skinny's locking it down. Sometimes I'm on, but sometimes just great guests you get to see on there. So make sure you're 30 minutes after the game ends, Skinny's live right here on the Rams LAFB YouTube channel. So make sure you're hitting that subscribe button so you get notified. But so I was up in Julian, California, which for those that don't know is southeast. It's towards San Diego. You go past Temecula, like a solid 2 hours or hour and a half into the mountains there. But it's beautiful. Beautiful little mountain town. But anyway, I bring this up because when I was there, it was 62 and raining. Oh, I freaking loved it. It was fall weather, picking apples and 62 and rainy. It was gorgeous. And then today's 93 again. I'm like, come on.
Yeah. That
life could be worse though.
I didn't even know that part of the world that really existed.
Dude,
there were towns there.
I was telling my wife as we were driving, what I love, not just about California, but the United States, really the world, obviously, but we're just talking driving within the country is there are so many places in this country that you would never even heard of or think of. And then you go there and you're like, this is incredible. This is such a cool little town, little village over here. It was an old gold mine town. And then once the gold ran out, they discovered that they could really thrive with apple orchards. So if you haven't heard of, you may have unknowingly heard of Julian Julian apple pie. It's a really famous, they're known for their pies now. Apple, cherry, phenomenal. We had some phenomenal. If you can find some Julian pie at Stater Bros or some, pick some up. Obviously it's better from the source, but anyway, we'll move on. Quickly, or do you have anything else to add to that?
No dumpling talk.
No dumpling talk. Yes.
For
some listener.
Yeah, at least one guy really did not didn't have fun. Anyway, Sleeper
went too long, but yeah, we'll quickly talk about our friends over at Sleeper, #1 sports app right now. Make sure to download the Sleeper app, spelled just like it sounds. When you download and you go to make your first deposit, you're going to use the promo code RAMSLAFB. It's all one word, RAMSLAFB. You get a match bonus up to $100. If you don't want to do it on $100, you want to just play with 5 or 10, they're going to match you on that too. Put in $10, you get 10 free dollars to play with. Now you're probably asking why am I putting a deposit in for a fantasy app? Well, there's not just season-long fantasy, even though it is the best fantasy app out there. Skinny, it kills me. I'm in 5 fantasy leagues. 3 of them all use Sleeper. Fantastic, easy to navigate. And I have 1 on ESPN, 1 on Yahoo. I hate having to have all those multiple. Everyone should just be using Sleeper. But it's not just for fantasy football. They have the daily pick'ems that you can do. Pick 2 to 8 players across any sport, and you're just picking more or less. If you picked more, like we told you to, I think on our live, take more on Puka Nacua, you would have hit on that because he went well over. We know that's the target. We knew the matchup was going to be better because we thought that, Davante Adams on the outside would have probably been matched with Cooper DeJean. So anyway, I digress. Sleeper, download the app. Rams LAFB is your promo code. Tell them the guys over at the LAFB network sent you. All right, Skinny, we're going to do winners and losers, or winners and not so much winners, but definitely some losers. I'm still just, I wasn't on with the live, so we won't do much recap. I'm just still shocked that they lost this game. It's just you're watching the game and knowing the outcome, and then I'm rewatching it. I'm like, how do they lose this game? Are you kidding me? How dominant they were in the first half on both sides of the ball. And I'll just say this, and I'll toss it to you. this was what was snake biting these Rams last season, and it seems like it is still not fully fixed, and it's the red zone offense.
Yeah.
You convert 6 field goal attempts. We won't count the last one because that's for a game winner. So 5 field goal attempts. Convert one of those to a touchdown, you win this game. Instead, you settle for 5 field goal attempts. Like, what is going on with the red zone, Skinny?
Well, I mean, I think there's too much reliance on one individual player. You look at Higbee targets. Higbee last year when he was available towards the end of the season, he was a red zone killer.
Yeah.
Not only that, he was a third down killer too. Did a great job on both of those. They're not going to him. They're trying to spam Davante Adams, and when you got Quinyon Mitchell, when you got Cooper DeJean and a quality pass rush, I mean, you can't do it. You know, you got to diversify this offense. I said it to Aaron on the post game. This felt like one of those 2024 games where a bunch of them they were actually able to pull it out at the end. But you know, 2024 cracks in the secondary. That's still there.
Yep.
Third down efficiency, still not good. And then, you know, red zone.
Yeah.
I mean, and the red. I mean, obviously, third downs keep your drive alive. You got to have those, but I mean, they ran the ball down all the way down into the red zone. I can't remember which drive it was, and then just started trying to toss balls up to Davante Adams, and lo and behold, they come away with 3 instead of 7.
And we saw that so often last year. I remember talking about it ad nauseum. Like, you're running the ball so efficiently, and then you just become air raid pass heavy in the red zone for whatever reason. And there were times when the defense obviously stacks up, and you know, Kyren or Blake wasn't getting like the same yardage they were getting between the 20s, but it was like a one attempt, and they're like, okay, now we're just throwing the ball every time. So that's one of those things that this is a good football team. This is a team I think that is a clear contender. I mean, the Eagles are top 5 team in football, 3-0, and you went to the road again and took it to the brink and should have won in multiple different ways. So it's a good team, but these are the little things that separate you from being a good playoff team to being a Super Bowl winning team. And so plenty of time, season's early, but we just need to see that some of these things progress, and red zone efficiency and not settling for field goals is one of those. You know, I talked on a USC show, and I always bring up USC, but they cross over a little bit, obviously being here in LA. And a week ago against Purdue, USC obviously won the game. They had the very same problem. They only scored like 2 touchdowns. They had like 4 field goals. They just had to keep settling for field goals. And then against Michigan State last week, they flipped that and had fantastic red zone efficiency and, you know, put up 45 points. So can the Rams do that in a week basis when they're actually going up against, you could argue, the best team in the AFC, Indianapolis Colts, which is crazy, but we'll talk about that on a different day. So winners and losers, we always got to start positive, even though we kind of just went negative, but let's start with let's go now to a positive. Who's your first winner, Skinny?
I'm going to say Puna Ford and this run defense against Saquon Barkley, the big bad boogeyman for this team. So 18 carries, 46 yards, no touchdowns, a long of 12. That's not a 70-yard touchdown like they were giving up, it seemed like, at will last season. Also 4 receptions for 9 yards, just really shut down Saquon Barkley in this game. You know, we talked about this offense a bit heading into the game, the Eagles offense specifically, really having a hard time getting going. And it was mostly around their passing offense. But in this game, held him to a season low of 46 yards, 88 against Kansas City, 60 against Dallas. So great job all around for the Rams defensive line, especially. Puna Ford gets the highest run defense grade from PFF. He gets 3 stops, a couple of pressures, including a sack. So really solid day across the board. Tyler Davis also up there with 80.7. He was a guy that they were talking about in the preseason at training camp as kind of a guy that's taken a step forward. and he's had a couple of pressures and a sack this year as well. So, good depth really developing along that line for sure. Winner all day long.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was the big question mark, was how this run defense would perform, as you alluded to. And we talked about how, they specifically went out and got Puka Nacua because of playing this Eagles team to stop and help stop Saquon Barkley, Nate Landman as well, who's really good at run defense. So that was like, even though he only had 3 tackles, I think he still had an impact on plugging holes and whatnot. So fantastic. Puka Nacua, great run game all around. I mean, you hold Saquon Barkley to under 50 yards at 2.6 yard average, like against this Eagles team. That's fantastic. So great to see that. Hopefully that's something that continues on moving forward for this team and this run defense, as that was a big gaping hole, pun intended, last season. So love that. I'm going to go a little controversial here, Skinny. I know we kind of talked about it pre-show, but I'm going to go with a winner being Joshua Carty, Rams kicker. I know fans are, but what winner? The dude got 2 blocked field goals, including the attempted game winner blocked that was in return for the icing on the cake margin of victory, helping the Eagles cover. Remember, they were a 3.5 point favorite, and they wouldn't have covered if not for that returned touchdown. I don't know who had what bets going, but I'm going to go with him as a winner because 4 makes, basically scored a lot of the Rams offense. One of those was a 51-yarder, which I believe was their first field goal that he attempted. And aside from the field goals, the kickoff game was incredible. I mean, what he was able to do mostly in the first half, because that's when they scored most of their points. Only one score in the second half, I believe. So obviously most of their kickoffs came in that first half. But him and, obviously the special teams coach and what they're able to kind of scheme out. But these little, not even squib kits, but these just nice shorter kicks that always landed in front of the return guy, Mechie, and he couldn't handle any of them. And the Eagles literally started every possession under the 20-yard line. Some of them were in the 10-yard line. And so incredible kickoff job, which that's just going to help your defense even more. So I think Carty had a fantastic game. You look at the 2 blocks, the first block, maybe he kicked a little low trajectory, but the defensive line still had a tremendous push. And the game sealing block, I mean, Rob Havenstein and was it Bo Limmer or Justin Dedich? They just got absolutely annihilated. And so that was nothing that any kicker would have had that block. That wasn't him. Those guys were bull rushing through that line. So that was on the line of scrimmage, not Josh Carty. So yeah, I'm going with Carty as a winner, even though most fans will probably call him a loser for having the 2 blocks.
Yeah. It was a tough day, out there for the guy. A lot of expectations on him. Yeah, I was calling them knuckleball kicks because they couldn't. It was kind of going all over the place. So yeah, I mean, I was prepared to talk about him as one of my stars of the game after the game, just being nails, kicking those early field goals, and then those knuckleballs. So yeah, I totally agree with you there. My first loser. It's a big one, and I think it's the first time I've ever thrown this guy squarely under the bus on purpose. Sean McVay.
No,
Sean McVay. Coach
Okay.
McVay, throwing him. I'm calling it. All right, over reliance on Davante Adams, not utilizing the tight ends, underutilizing Kyren Williams and Blake Corum, spamming Puka Nacua, no Tutu Atwell, really no Jordan Whittington. I think he had one catch, I believe, is
2 for 7 yards. Yeah, 3 targets.
So some of that on Stafford for sure. Yeah, definitely. But 2 years running now, they're going through these big transformations on offense. We're going to utilize more 12 personnel. We have a running game. We're drafting backs constantly to ensure we have a running game, and they just kind of abandon it and he just hopes that Davante Adams is going to win every time. And Davante, it's not a bad bet to make.
Yeah.
But the creativity, the offensive geniusness, it's now we're in year 2 of this kind of stunted looking offense in those high critical situations. Not only that, but like, let's be a little bit more Dan Campbell, a little less John Harbaugh. Let's go for it on some fourth downs and more occasions. Believe in yourself. Believe in Kyren Williams.
Yeah.
Believe in Matthew Stafford. So I don't like it. I've been a supporter of anybody that's ever said fire McVay. I've always said, who are you going to replace him with? There's only one or two guys out there, defensive, offensive guys that I would even consider, and they already have jobs. So, but yeah, this one, this is, extrapolating towards the future. This is how you lose playoff games.
Yep.
So, I mean,
I think
there you go.
I think it's a fair analysis. I think it's fair assumption because, they did go for it on fourth once at the round midfield. Remember both teams exchanged turnover on downs essentially. But my problem, we're being hypercritical here, but hey, that's the point of doing this is, 3rd and 1, you throw the deep ball to Davante Adams, again, going for it all on 3rd and 1. Obviously that indicated they were going to see it as 4-down territory, but then you run it up the gut on 4th and 1 and get stopped for a loss of 2. Like, it's kind of like an interesting play call there. And then again, it's all about situational football and awareness, right? And obviously McVay, we know he's smart as hell, but like, you look at the stat sheet, 31 rushes. How many times do I say, you run the ball 31 times, you're going to run it 25 plus, you're going to win the game. The Rams usually do when they run it that. So by that, that's great. 31 rushes, 20 for Kyren, I think 8 for Corum. Then you get a couple jet sweeps for the receivers. But as we talked about at the top of the show, it was when he abandoned the run, like in the red zone or different situations, that kind of got you scratching your head. Like, you made it all the way down here on the run, like committed. I remember watching it being like, holy cow, this is like the 4th run in a row on this drive. This is amazing. And then pass, field goal. And so it's just that situational that is like, I don't know what changes. Again, part of that is defensively, give Vic Fangio and the Eagles some credit, obviously what they're able to do and stack the box. And that's why red zone is much harder to score as you have less to work with. But yeah, I put him in the large pie chart of blame for this loss. When you have a lead like they did and dominance like they did, and it, execution obviously is part of that, but when you're leading 26-7 or whatever they were, and you lose 33-26, it's not great.
Yeah. And as is my standard mulling and thinking things over, like I think about this guy too much, Tutu Atwell. I think about him constantly, rent free in my brain. As
apparently you're the only one. I don't think anyone on the Rams are thinking about him.
Well, exactly. And, I was thinking about it in terms of DeMarcus Robinson last year. It wasn't like McVay was struggling to figure out how to utilize him in the offense. Like, he had a role. It was like red zone, deep stuff in the middle, post, like there wasn't this like constant question of like, hey, how do we get DeMarcus Robinson, more touches and more opportunities? And that's all we're getting from McVay about Tutu Atwell. And it's like, I think they made the wrong decisions about who to pay money to just out of a McVay thing. I don't know who's a more talented receiver or better for this offense, but it's like, it's not like they were struggling to find how to use Odell Beckham Jr. or, they've had number 3 receivers in the past that have been game changers. So that's all. That's the last thing I'm going to say about Tutu for the next 40 minutes.
well, I mean, and not to go too far down a rabbit hole here, but there's a world so Cooper Kupp, right? When Rams end up releasing him, the whole story from his side was that he wasn't even approached. They didn't even talk to him about taking a pay cut. It was just decision made. We're moving on for whatever reason. And we talk about that a lot in the offseason. So we don't need to divulge on that, but there's a world where he was making $15.8 million or so, or at least that was his cap, or his cap, I think was way higher, but his average salary was somewhere in that. There's a world where they could have gone to him and said, hey, we really want to go after Davante Adams. Like, would you be willing to take a pay cut? And they're paying Tutu Atwell $10 million. Like, you don't think you could have gotten Cooper from what he's making maybe down to 12, 13, and you have the trio now of Nacua, Adams, and Cooper Kupp. And originally we would say, well, okay, well, that doesn't make sense. Kupp doesn't have like the the explosiveness that Tutu maybe brings, but like you're not using it at all with Tutu. Like even the times he does get targeted, which is so rarely. What do you have? One target in this game? One target, which ended up being a pass broken up. He's doing like a 9-yard dig route. It's not even like on a deep ball. He's doing just like something over the middle, just like at the sticks. Cooper Kupp could do that for one target a game. That would never happen. Having, I think, Kupp stay and go get Adams. I don't think he would. I don't know if he would have done that big of a pay cut. And maybe while you're talking, I don't even remember what his salary is with the Seahawks, to be honest. But when you just think about the fact that at the time, Tutu with the $10 million was like the 33rd highest paid receiver. And here's a guy that so far through what does he have? 1 catch through 3 games?
4 yards.
Yeah.
I think he's got 4 yards. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, you don't want to be, I don't want to sound too critical because obviously you have Puka Nacua and Adams and that is working. It's not like no one's getting anything, but I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. Like why bring him back and then just every week the same thing of got to figure out a way to get him involved. Like at this point, is it McVay or is it Stafford? That's like the bigger question. Like is Stafford just like, nah, I'm good. I'm not even going to look at him. I'm good.
And maybe that's the case. And maybe that's a conversation they needed to have. Like, hey, we want to bring Tutu back in. Do you think like, is there a role for him in this offense? And I mean, it's a 5-year frustration when it should have just been a 4-year frustration or less, to be honest at this point. So yeah, I mean, I think, the vision was on the table. We kind of saw, Cooper Kupp at this point in his career is kind of a glorified F tight end, kind of slot tight end, because he just doesn't have the separation and the speed. Still got the blocking stuff. Yeah. The injury concern and whatnot. And they wanted to move towards an actual 12 personnel, but the 12 personnel, as I pointed out before this, is just not working as intended. There is no offensive explosion from the tight ends at all so far. I mean, we saw some attempts at it early on, but the last 2 games it just hasn't been there, and that falls on McVay. I mean, if you're going to transform your offense and you're going to move on from a guy like Cooper Kupp, make sure Terrence Ferguson is going to be up to speed so that he can move into that dynamic playmaking tight end role, and Higbee can kind of float in between. Colby Parkinson is then your true inline guy. Well, that makes lots of sense. We can see that. It's just not happening. Yeah.
Yeah. So Cooper Kupp, just so we'll put a bow on it, 3-year deal, $45 million contract, $26 million guaranteed from Seattle. This year, his cap hit is $9.3 million. So less than Tutu Atwell's cap hit.
That's incredible.
So there was a world, there's semantics and politics and egos and stuff, but there was a world where the Rams could have said, yeah, we're not going to re-sign Tutu. Cooper Kupp's going to take a contract restructure, pay cut, and we're going to get Davante Adams. And you have Nacua, Kupp, and Adams. And I do think even if the lion's share is still going to Puka and they're trying to really feed Adams, I still think Kupp's probably going to get more than 3 targets over 3 games or whatever the total is. So anyway, let's move on from that. It's crazy. So
yeah, and Demarcus Robinson 2-year contract, $2 million cap hit this year, $2.8 million cap hit next year with the 49ers.
Yeah. And his 3-game suspension is over now. So, I mean, he's just as almost productive as Tutu Atwell has been, and he wasn't suspended. And Atwell has 1 catch for 4 yards.
All right, who's your next? Okay. Who's your next winner or loser?
So you always say you get fired up about Tutu. I get it. I mean, we both do. It's just because this is making. I want the guy to succeed. It just doesn't make any sense. Okay, my loser. Unless did you have something else to add?
No. Okay, I'm done.
All right, so I'm going to go off the beaten path a little bit, and this is maybe a homer pick for loser. But I'm going to say the refs. I'm going to say the refs are my loser. Again, I never like bringing the refs into it, never try to be homer, but I feel like they missed a lot of calls for the Rams. We're calling it very Philly-centric, if you will. The tush push where they run it 3 times. The first one, it was an obvious false start, goes uncalled. The touchdown they scored on it, I thought that one was actually, I rewatched it and they're actually lining up on side, and I think they snapped the ball correctly. So that one was fine. But then some of the The A.J. Brown, very clear push off for the touchdown. I don't know if that was like a makeup call because Davante Adams had a slight push off on his touchdown like 2 or 3 quarters prior. So I don't know if that was like logged in the back of their brain, but like it was a very like Davante Adams, I think it was a push off, but like A.J. Brown was like a egregious push off, like very clear. Or were they thinking Darius Williams tried to sell it too much like a ballerina, so they weren't going to like give in to him because he went like sprawling like he just got shot out of a cannon. But yeah, I just think there was enough calls that they just did not, they just didn't call an even game, in my opinion. So I'll go with the refs as a loser.
Yeah, I mean, there was a makeup call for this one, but that Davante or the Puka Nacua flex that has to be brought up.
Yeah, thank you. I forgot that one.
I mean, I can't remember the lineman that was jawing. It was probably Jalen Carter, but I don't want to besmirch the man's name any more than it already has been. But I mean, he does it every time he gets a first down. He kind of did it in the direction of a defender. There's 11 of them on the field. There's a whole sideline full of players, and he pointed. It kind of reminded me of the punch thrown last year, which was a bit more of an agreed, like that was Puka Nacua did lose his temper on that one. Mm-hmm. But this one was just ridiculous.
Yeah. And he does it on every catch.
Yeah.
Like he did it the catch prior. And then I think what I struggle with the taunting call, like I don't have a problem with it, honestly. Like, when you have kids, like you don't need them seeing like taunting and promoting taunting. Like, I think it doesn't need to be, but I also have zero problem with it. But the hard thing is it's so subjective. Like there is some very clear taunting where like that is obvious. Like a guy like standing over a guy like with his crotch in his face, like doing like that is a clear taunt. Like someone like flexing when someone's in the area. Like, come on. You could call Jared Verse every time. He's doing like the dirty bird every time he would get like a tackle. Like they never called that. So it's just like such a subjective call that half the time I'm like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So anyway, anything, you got another winner or loser?
I mean, I got to call it the running game. I think I already mentioned it, but really, really great day on the ground for Kyren Williams and Blake Corum. I thought good amount of touches for both of them. 94 yards for Kyren Williams, Blake Corum with 53 yards. You can see that change of pace with Blake Corum, who's just got that extra, 20% of explosivity that Kyren Williams doesn't have. So that's great to see. And then just to check in on it, I believe he had another really good day in pass protection, which was our big question. Just going to reference here PFF.
Yeah. Well, who are you referring to?
Blake Corum.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. Another day. No pressures allowed. So really fantastic there. One allowed by Kyren Williams. So in that same theme, loser, offensive line. I know that the injuries were there, and that didn't help anything at all. But Justin Dedich and Bo Limmer collectively 0 from PFF. And I mean, make that of what you will, but they really had a hard time. I mean, you referenced Rob Havenstein getting blown up. I had totally forgotten that there was another blocked field goal in the Tennessee game, and Nate Tice, who's a fantastic. He used to be a quarterback. He worked. He was a coaching staff at a couple of NFL stops. Pointed out Havenstein just getting blown up in both of those instances. Yeah. So rough day across the board. I think that Stafford felt his age, felt some amount of injury after this game, during this game, kind of lost some of those touches on those deep balls. Didn't look as crisp and as healthy as he did in the first 2 games. He said he got kneed in the man zone, but I think he was feeling it in the back zone as well. Anytime you see Reggie Scott, go look at a picture of Reggie Scott. Familiarize yourself with his face. Anytime you see a player talking with him individually, he's in some amount of pain. I don't know. More, I would like to say more 12 personnel. But it seems like Kevin Dotson's going to be dealing with something kind of every game now. He's kind of at that point in his career where he's just kind of picking up ticky-tacky things. I don't know what was going on with Rob Havenstein necessarily. And then Steve Avila also getting kind of injury prone over the last 2 years. Did he have something in his rookie year as well? Did he miss some time? Can't remember. But
I don't remember now that I think about it. We can look back and see, I'm sure. But yeah, I agree. Before I give my thoughts, I don't even think I need to add another win or lose. I'll just comment on the offense line. But real quickly, like if you're looking for hiring, maybe the Rams are looking to hire maybe some more offensive line help, some more depth, but you got to use our friends over at ZipRecruiter. With ZipRecruiter's new advances, you can easily find and connect with quality candidates in minutes. See a candidate you're really interested in, you can unlock their contact info instantly. Over 320,000 new resumes are added to ZipRecruiter every single month, which means you can reach more potential hires and fill roles sooner. Use ZipRecruiter and save time hiring. 4 to 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And if you go to ZipRecruiter.com/audio, you can try it for free. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. I don't think I've ever said ZipRecruiter that many times in that short amount of time. It becomes a tongue twister there. But real disappointing from the offense line. It's hard to be extremely critical just because of how good the defensive front is for the Eagles. Obviously, that's a super winning defensive front. But if you want to be a Super Bowl winning or contending team, you've got to be able to compete against that. And the offensive line, I thought, started the game good. I thought the offense was able to protect Stafford for the most part. Obviously, they did good stuff throughout the game in the run game. But yeah, just getting blown up on too many plays, getting manhandled, obviously. When you're having field goals blocked back to back, I mean, it's why you lose games. Make either of those, the Rams win the game. Either field goal, you win the game. Theoretically, obviously it changes the outcome a little bit, but so got to see with this offensive line. I mean, we said it, I think, Skinny, even heading into the season, like if you have your starting 5, this is a pretty good unit. But based on what history's shown us, the Rams are not going to have their starting 5, maybe not even every week. They might have someone in there every single week as a depth piece. So how good is the depth truly? And we've seen some good things from the depth, I think, over the course of, 365 days. Sunday was not one of them, unfortunately. So we'll see how they bounce back against a good Colts team and see how this unit looks and see if Steve Avila is back. Because they could certainly use his size and skill set there. But when you got Stafford and he's seeing the witch doctor every time he comes off the field, as we'll call Reddy Scott now, the Rams witch doctor of trying to solve something on injuries and stuff. You just don't want him taking that many shots.
Yeah, 100%. And I gotta shout out Alaric Jackson having another good game against tough competition. So there's some good stuff happening. You just hope it holds up long enough and consistently enough to get themselves into the playoffs, and that they're healthy at that point is, key. I mean, that's the big that's the big move. And you start wondering about, cornerbacks, offensive linemen. Is that the move at the deadline that they might be eyeing if they see themselves as in that 2021 position?
Yeah. Interesting. For sure. And it's looking like the Falcons right now, the Rams could have a top 5 NFL draft pick if the Falcons continue how they're going.
That's a tough one to really assess what's happening there. Cause Penix looked good in week 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And then against the Panthers really, really fell apart.
Shut out.
Epically by a lot.
Yeah. And it's so interesting. Like I'm rooting for Raheem Morris. That's what makes this hard, because I'm rooting for him. But like the QB change was a little bit like faulty last year or whatever, between going from Kirk Cousins to him. How much was he involved in deciding to draft Kirk Cousins, or was it the GM solely? And then, after losing this game, you want to shake things up. So you go fire your wide receivers coach. That just seems like such a random fall guy, now your offensive coordinator, not like a personnel thing, like your wide receiver coach. That just seems like such a random firing to me.
Yeah, Drake London is he should be a star.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
I don't know how much of that falls on a wide receiver coach.
I mean, the wide receiver coach obviously is very important, but they're like, again, every team has a little bit different roles, but I mean, we could talk to Eric Yarber, who I think is a fantastic wide receiver coach, but I don't think he's like that involved in like the game day play calling or personnel decisions. Like he's like, hey, I got my starting guys, make sure they're out there and ready to go.
Yeah, and he got nothing to do with the defense that gave up a bunch of points.
34 points to the Cardinals. I know.
Bryce Young, yeah.
Very interesting. So anyway, that's all. But I say that because, hey, if things trend, Rams could have a top 5 pick there. So at the trade deadline, there could actually be a lot of interest. And obviously they would love to hang on to the top 5 pick, but then their pick becomes very expendable. They're like, oh yeah, we'll trade our first rounder that's probably going to be in the late 20s to get some piece. And guess what? We're still going to have top 5 and hopefully win the Super Bowl. And then get our quarterback of the future. Jaden Mayava, baby.
So let's recap it. Who are your winners? Who are our winners for this week?
Winners was Joshua Carty. I think that was my only winner. We talked a lot of different like nuances. And then my losers were the refs, and maybe that was it. And then like we both had Tutu Atwell in there.
Yeah, our number one winners was Josh Carty.
Yeah.
And second winner was Puna Ford. Stopping Saquon Barkley.
Yeah. And the Rams run game, I think we had in there as well.
Yes.
As winners.
Yeah, absolutely. And then honorable mention, you got to throw in Steve Avila for our winners.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Alaric Jackson.
Okay. Thank you. I was like, maybe there's a joke in there that I'm just not quite getting. And then, losers were the offensive line, Sean McVay, and
then the refs, the old and Tutu Atwell. We just threw in there.
It's like the same every week, I guess, at this point. All right. Well, okay. Let me ask you this to wrap up. Last thing. Obviously, you never want a team to lose, and we just talk mostly about like issues with this team. But after this game now, do you feel better, worse, or the same about this team?
I feel exactly the same about this team.
Mm-hmm.
I think, the problems we've identified, the problems and the cracks that exist are no different. Now we were hoping for an improvement in the red zone and on third down from last year to this year, especially with, bringing in Davante Adams specifically for that. But cornerback's still a problem. Still really reliant on a healthy offensive line and a healthy Matt Stafford. And I think all three of those things reared their ugly head against a smart football team that can take advantage of those things. What AJ Brown did against the cornerbacks was laughable. He was bigger, faster, and stronger than everybody they had back there. And I mean, watching Emmanuel Forbes and Darius Williams is 5'8". Emmanuel Forbes is 25 pounds. And they looked all 125 pounds of him just got pushed around by AJ Brown. Again, they used to be in the same division, and that basically ended Emmanuel Forbes' career with the Commanders, was just getting mossed by AJ Brown. What do you think? Better, worse, same?
I'm with you. I feel the exact same, which means I'm not like down on this team. I know maybe people listening think we are, but we're just overly criticizing this specific game and these issues. But I feel good in the fact that what we challenged the team with was the run defense, and they rose the challenge and absolutely shut down Saquon Barkley. That was fantastic to see. But everything you mentioned, the offensive line depth, the secondary, clutch moments, how they would come through, there were cracks there. There's not like glaring red flags, but there's obviously things they need to clean up. Now, the hard part for the Rams is their next 3 games are extremely hard. You could even say the next 4 games are pretty hard. You get the surprise Colts. You get them at home, luckily, but the surprise Colts who are 3-0. Honestly, like the Colts in Chargers might be the two best teams in the entire AFC, which is wild that the Daniel Jones-led Colts are having that good of a year, but they really are, and they've beaten some good teams.
What did I say about Danny Dimes? What did I say?
I know, Danny Dimes, you wanted him. You were like, that could be the succession plan right there. Now it's get it. How many times we say, like, situation matters in this league? Like, a lot of these guys have talent. You got to be in the right situation with the right coach. It's early. It's been 3 games, but so far it looks pretty good. After the Colts, you have a short week, and you get the Niners on Thursday night. No matter what the Niners, whether it's Brock Purdy or Mac Jones, it's a division game. Anyone can win that. Then
zombies are hard to stop. And these are just a team full of zombies.
Exactly. I know they're injured, but it's still it. Then you travel back east to play the Ravens in Baltimore yet again. It seems like they play the Ravens in Baltimore every time. They never get them at home. And then after that, you go to London to play the Jaguars, who just had a good win over the Houston Texans, making them go 0-3. So the next 4 games are brutal for this Rams team. And you just came off a brutal game, physical game against the Eagles. So not panicking by any means. I feel the same about this team. I think this is a playoff. I think this is a Super Bowl contending team. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But these next 4 games are going to tell us a lot if they're improving those areas of weakness or if they're just going to remain weaknesses and they hope they can get over them by playoff time.
All right. One last question. 2-1 right now. 4 games ahead of them, staring down the barrel of some travel, some tough opponents. So that's 7 games. What's their record after 7 games?
After 7 games, I might. This is going to sound like I don't believe in them, but I do. But I'm going to go 4-3.
Oh, okay.
So I think they split these next 4. Go 2-2.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into the Colts of it all, but Jonathan Taylor's looking like the 2025 Saquon Barkley.
Yeah,
so
I need to mention him. Another test.
Another test. And so I'm going to be that positive one this time.
All right.
They're going to be
5-2.
5-2. Say 5-2.
Go 3-1. I mean, hey, if they go 3-1 over this stretch, that's a huge win. Like, I know every fan wants you to go undefeated every week, but 3-1 over this stretch, 5-2. I mean, that if they're 5-2 after this stretch, I'm like, yep, that's the Super Bowl favorite in the NFC, in my opinion. But and the NFL, last thing I'll say is the first 4 to 5 weeks, we're obviously going to try to analyze as much as we can, but the first 4 to 5 weeks, you don't know totally what the team is, especially because these guys don't play any preseason. So, I mean, the Green Bay Packers just lost to the Cleveland Browns. I don't know if that means the Packers are like a bad football team. They just had a really bad Sunday and somehow lost to the Browns. I think they're still a top NFC team. So the Rams played a brutal game. It was a brutal loss, but they feel like they can compete with anybody, obviously, and beat anybody on any given Sunday. So, clean these things up and they could be the best team in the NFC, NFL for that matter, but we'll see how the stretch goes.
We sure will.
So any final closing words, my man?
No, let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. So thank you all. As always, we'll be back tomorrow. More Rams talk. And then on Thursday, remember, live Thursday, 4 p.m. right here on the Rams LAFB YouTube channel. We'll be taking your calls. Would love anyone that wants to jump in here, give your thoughts, questions, concerns, roast us, whatever you want to do. We'll do that. And then obviously post-game live as well. So make sure to look out for that. But we'll do our Colts preview on Thursday on the live. So for Skinny T, I'm Ryan Dowd. Everyone be well, be safe. Talk to you all soon, Ramley.